What's something that's on your mind that you want to jump into?
I thought maybe you'd find this interesting. The idea of
Yeah. Yeah.
good being good enough. Like, I put up a post today about it, and I'll read a little bit of it to you, and then we'll see what comes up. Because I've been reading the Daily Stoic too, and they talk a lot about that. It's just like just do the thing, and whatever other thoughts or ideas pop into your head or other, like, you got to remove that and just focus on being exactly where you are.
Yeah.
So it's this idea that I said is like underestimating what you're doing. That's usually like a thing that we all fall into. We underestimate actually what we're doing and how it's stacking up. And a lot of it comes from the love affair we have with the future and the hate relationship we have with the past. Do you ever notice that? Like, we absolutely are in love with the future, but we absolutely hate the past. When in reality, the future is absolutely nothing. Like, it's nothing. Like, right now, it's nothing. And if you're only in love with that, then you can't be open to what you're accomplishing, what you're doing, what's not working, what is working. Like, you're not open to the actual things that can completely change the trajectory of where your future is. It's kind of like the thing I put up, or the thing I was talking about. It's kind of like, in the realm of nutrition and fitness, it's kind of like we forget that good is good enough. Like, we overlook that. We think, if I just lost the weight, if I just hit this number in the gym, if my mile time was this much faster, if I was doing blank or blank or blank, like, we're obsessed as a society with optimization and optimizing and biohacking and a bunch. It's just all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Like, so much of it. It's like someone trying to get you to do something unnecessarily harder, more overly complicated, so they can feel like they're right.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And it all counts. Everything literally you're doing, it all counts. And I don't think we recognize that enough.
Why don't you like to what you said, why don't we think that our efforts that we're putting out are exactly what they should be?
Oh, because what I want isn't here yet. Like, that's the automatic response, right?
Yeah.
What I want isn't here yet, so therefore, fuck it. Therefore, like, I'm not doing enough. Like, I'm not doing enough because it's not here now. Like, I want it now, as opposed to like being like, hey, it's coming. Right?
Yeah, I mean, when you say that, all I think about is being attached to outcomes and not embodying your output, right? Because when I hear that, and I've been in spaces like that as well, but when we're living through that lens, we're basically saying, I don't have, I need, I'm not enough, I should be blank. Where we're taking ourselves completely out of the power that we have in the moment. Because we're so worried about what things need to look like, what they should be. Fuck that. It shouldn't be. It should be whatever you decide to put into the moment, because as much weight as the future can hold and as much weight as the past can hold, they both can throw you off from where you currently are. And I think one thing to that point, Chris, is we always forget the evolution of ourselves. Because in the moment of right now, I'm completely different than I was in my past experience or my future experiences. And so when I'm thinking about, oh, I wish I had that, I'm doing it based on a prior self, where I'm totally different now because I've evolved, I've grown, we've transformed every moment of every day. And it's like, if I'm so caught in those worlds, I'm not actually acknowledging the space and power of who I am today.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really big way to look at it. Like, I'm not acknowledging the space I can
Yeah.
hold for myself today.
It's
How
really,
do you get there? That's the question, you know?
yeah.
Like, how do you open yourself up to that? How would you?
Yeah. Dude, for me, I've been really leaning into this, and it's with the leaders that I work with too, in a sense of, how are you intentionally pausing throughout your day to realign yourself with your vision, to realign yourself with who you need to be? Whether that's actually sitting and journaling and meditating, or those are just little reminders as you're going from meeting to meeting, from work to home, whatever it is, to live more in a flow instead of just this automatic rhythm. Because when we're in automatic, how many times have we been in automatic where like a month goes by and you're kind of like, that shit was just a blur, right?
Mm.
Where is it possible to get yourself to a space or develop tools to kind of be exactly where you just asked that question, to be in the now? Could you do it through these intentional ways of just slowing yourself, being able to still go fast, but being able to pause? I was thinking about that. I talk a lot about go slow to go fast, and we have some mutual friends in the space who say similar things. And I don't mean like, I was thinking about it. It's so funny. There's two things that come to mind that when you brought this up. But one is, I was thinking about it this morning. And most people think like, I go slow to then just crush a period of time where I'm going fast. Dude, the amount of times I go slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, fast each day is insane. I probably, oh shit. I really should like pay attention and try to like document it. I 20 to 30 times a day I'm going slow to go fast. Go slow. It's just embedded. My foundation is slow to leverage my intentionality to go fast.
Mm.
Um
Mm.
so that's something that has served me, so that I don't get so future outcome results oriented, and I'm just focused on the space that I'm in now. That's what it is for me. I'm curious for you.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat where it switches all the time. But I think the thing for me that's truly most important is is focusing on like one thing at a
Mm,
time. I think that's not a sexy answer, but I do think that it's literally that, one thing at a time. If I'm focusing on doing 1,000 things at once, it's just a sign that I don't have clarity on what I'm actually trying to do.
mm,
Right? If you're focusing on like 1,000 things at once, you have no clarity on what you're actually trying to do. You think you might know, but what in actuality you've done is you put the goal before like the value. Like, if you put your goals before your values, you have no idea how you're going to get there.
yeah.
Right? Like, if I was going to pick, if I picked a goal was to make like $10 million, right? So I decide to take on like 50 different projects and run in like 50 different directions. What is the likelihood of me actually getting anywhere?
Mm,
Probably going to be stuck because I don't know which turn I'm supposed to take. I'm consistently dealing with paralysis by analysis. I'm not trusting my decisions that I'm making. Like, it's just wasting a bunch of time. And look, I've wasted a bunch of time. I'm not upset about it though, because I can understand that's why I'm here and why I have the knowledge I have right now. And
yeah.
that's why I would say that, like, if I focus on my value, like what character strengths I'm trying to be or bring into the world and strengthen, that directly informs the goals that pop up.
Mm,
Like, it makes it that much easier to know how to go or
yeah.
know how to grow.
How I
Yeah.
think that definitely resonates with me. It's like, it's the idea of like less is more, and where are you with alignment? I think we've both experienced it in life, and I'm sure so many people do, where there's so many things floating around where it's like, I can go in this direction, I can go in this direction, I can do this, I can do this. And what I'm hearing you say is like, but I know the one thing to focus on. I know the couple things to focus on. I know my value, that the goals are the byproduct of what I value. What does that process look like for you in terms of weeding all of those stuff out? Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. That's a really good question, Griff. I think I do exactly what I ask my like clients to do. I've done it so many times now. Like I do it probably once a year now, but I always do the 5 whys. Whenever like a goal pops up, some people call it a why ladder. I call it the 5 whys. It's really a way of cutting through all the fluff to get to why you want to do something. And it looks something like this. If I say I want to make $10 million, I would say I want to make $10 million by the end of 2025. And then I would say why. I want to make $10 million by the end of 2025 because I really want to buy. I want to be debt free. Okay. Why? Blankety blank blank. Why? Blankety blank. You do that until you basically get down to the root of it. And if I was to say $10 million, it's because I truly want my family never have to worry about money. Well, okay. Well, I can already do that right now. Instead of focusing on like, I need to make $10 million to make that happen. No, I can have financial planning. I could save money. I could look at where money is going, right? There are literally, those are goals. Those are little checkpoints along the way. And having the value or the clarity of that why, it acts as like your GPS. GPS guides you towards your goals, right? It's the map quest. It literally, right? If I was to go type into Ask Jeeves how I get to where I want to go, it would take me to MapQuest. Then I would get my wireless printer. I would print it out. I'm just using references now for circa 2002.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Maybe I would have used Dogpile instead of Ask Jeeves. But like, honestly, I think that's what's usually missing. And look, your why, full transparency, your why is not going to help you get motivated. It's not, because motivation wavers. There are mornings you'll wake up, you'll be like, I don't want to do any of it. And you'll think about your why and you'll be like, that's great. That's just making me feel guilty. And it's full of toxic positivity to be like, you're supposed to just focus on that. Yeah. But your values, that's different than your why.
Yeah.
It's very different.
I love that, man. Here's like an added layer to that. How do you prioritize where your focus needs to go, where both things, or the 2-3 things that are there for you, are both of value? You know, like I've been in experiences, and I've talked to other clients and coaches who are like, both of them serve me. Both of them are things that I want to have my hands in, but I need to prioritize. Where does that, I'm just curious, in your experience, like how does those things come into play?
Oh yeah, I love that. It's like the chicken or the egg question, right? And then it's like, I don't really like chicken, so it doesn't matter. I think in actuality, you have to be brutally honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And say, okay, which of these is stroking my ego right now? And which of these is actually providing a vehicle for me to live the kind of life I want to live? See, that's really hard. You know, that's hard to do. And ego is not necessarily a bad thing, right? I think you and I have talked about that before. It's not a bad thing. It's only bad when you're not aware. Right? So like, let's stick with the $10 million thing, right? If one was to like a goal was to have $10 million and another goal was to spend more time with my family. Spending more time with my family, for me, I'm aware enough that that's not ego driven. That's a wholehearted
Mm-hmm.
want and need. And in essence, if I do it, it'll take care of the $10 million thing.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's what we usually lose sight of. It's like which, if I actually truly focus on it, will provide clarity around the other things that I want. We usually forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man, like to what you're saying, the values and the work what I do with people is all about like your foundation, right? What's your vision? What do you value? What are your beliefs? Because that's going to drive. That's going to be your driver. That's going to build consistency, all of that stuff. And I think what happens is as we climb the ladder, as we have experiences and we kind of just keep going, we think things change, right? But every time, to your point in my question, when all those things show up, when all those things exist, we're always going back to the foundation. It's like, okay, cool. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's some decisions I can make. Right back to the vision. Right back to what I value. Are they in alignment? Okay. What's that decision out of? Is that a fear? Is that a love? It is do. And then you can make your decision. What I've realized is we overlook the foundation a lot because we just want it. We just want to go get it. And we deplete ourselves because we go in a gazillion different directions because we're not actually clear on what we're even going for.
Yeah. So look, I want to play devil's advocate here. What about the person who hears all of this and is like, okay, great. I'll say the family thing. You can pick whatever it is. Great. You want to spend time with your family. So now you're making me feel bad that I'm at work and not spending time with my family. Does that mean what I'm doing isn't important? Right? Because for me, it's like, oh, no. Like, I'm completely aware that everyone has commitments. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you should be upset with yourself that you have a job, that you're providing for your family. No. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not saying you should quit your job in an effort to spend more time with your family, especially if you're like the primary breadwinner or you're an equal house where you both have to put in the same amount of work to be able to make it by.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, like, I don't know, Griff, like if you can't shut that part of your brain off at some point to be actually here in the moment or whatever it is, and you can't actually ground yourself during the day at any point, or you can't actually set an intention for the day, it becomes really hard. It becomes immensely hard. It feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with that?
Well, going to like even what you said, I think for any person, there's no right or wrong way to do life, right? It's life. And we all have our certain values and we all have our certain experiences. So if people are curious, if people are questioning, if people are wanting to be in discovery, it all goes, it's not about Chris, it's not about Griffin, it's not about whoever, it's about what do you want? What do you want the vision of your life to look like? And if you're not in alignment with that right now, why? What's missing? What is it for you? Maybe you're someone who's like, I don't value pausing because I've had so much success. And if that's something that suits them, then go do it. Right? And so I think to that, I would really bring someone back to their foundation. Like, okay, cool, I hear you. Why is that so important? Right? Okay, I hear you. Like all these things are going on. Okay. And you can't pause, right? How is that serving you? How do you feel about that?
So
Because your feelings are going to highlight exact things that are going on for you, because then that gives us an entry point. Well, I'm feeling stressed sometimes because when I'm playing with my daughter or son, like I'm actually thinking about work and I really want to be with them. Well, why do you find yourself thinking about work? Right? And then when you peel back those layers, you're able to uncover, right? Maybe it's boundaries. Maybe it's time versus energy, right? Maybe it's priorities. Maybe there's a gazillion different things, but those can give us indicators to say, Chris, this is the vision you said you wanted for your life, and look at where you are. What steps, what intentionality can we now make to get you to where you want to be? Because you said that you want it. It's not about what Griffin wants for you. It's not about what Chris wants for you. It's about you holding your vision for yourself. So I think, like, if someone was to have that lens of just being like, well, what about this? I just go, okay, what do you value? Right? What do you want for yourself?
Yeah.
But you said something. What was that last piece you said?
Couldn't even tell you. I've just been listening to you the whole time. I was practicing active listening. Look, if anyone's watching this, that's really the sign that you're present. You're literally present. Like, you're literally present. If you don't know, I was listening to you, Griff. I just wanted to hear exactly what you're saying. If I go back through the things floating out of my head, there are a lot of different things, but I might have said something about, fuck it, I don't know.
It's all right.
But I think the thing that I really would want to know, or maybe someone watching this would want to know, or listening to this, wherever it ends up being, what is one actionable thing that someone can do, like today, to help them get a little bit of clarity on what their version of better is? Like, for you, like, what would be one thing that you would say to someone to help them get a better idea of what better is for them?
I would answer, like, what does better mean to you? Like,
I love it.
Answer what does better mean to you, and what does it look like? And if you answer what it means to you and then create an idea of what it looks like, then hold it side by side to your current reality. If I say this is what better means and this is what better looks like and here's where I am, then ask yourself, what can I do? What's one thing? Because I think a lot of us too always have areas, right? We always want to be healthier. We always want to be more physically active. We might want to be more spiritual. We might want to, like, be more tons of different things. So you might come up with 5, 10. I would say, which one is calling to you the most? Like, which one? Just take one and focus on that, right? We talked about focus. When we're like, oh, wow, okay, I got 7 different things to dive into. You're never going to do any of them. There's never going to be consistency, because you know what you're going to do? You're going to go to the gym one day, and the next day you're going to be like, oh, okay, I said I was going to be more still. So, okay, now I'm going to sit and do that. Well, guess what? Your gym time just went out the window, right? Like, you're just going to hop around, and none of it's going to be consistent. So I would encourage you to ask yourself, what does better mean? What does it look like? Why is it important? I think why is it important is also a good one. And then what's one thing you can do? If you want to be present, what's one thing you can do in your life, starting in this moment, to just be more present? That's it.
I like that, Griff, especially because that's something I talk a lot about with clients. I don't know if you do this. I call them saws, the small ass wins. Saws. Like, oh, that was a saw moment. Like, 2 reasons. One, it's an awesome acronym because you saw whatever that moment was. Like, you literally saw it. You witnessed it. You were there in it.
Yeah.
It's small. Like, it does not have to be really big.
Mm-hmm.
And to add to what you were saying, I think the thing that usually messes folks up when they try to do this is that they don't have a clear definition.
Yeah.
Like they think it's wrong because of how they look at it. And the example that I always give is strength is a value of mine. When I was 22 years old, strength was being able to like deadlift like 2 times my body weight and run a really fast mile time. Like that for me, really important. Right now, my version of strength is knowing that if I don't have the time to work out, I'm okay. Knowing if I'm spending the time with my son and he just wants pizza and does not want a vegetable. Okay, it's cool if I sit and eat pizza with him because I'm with him.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me less than. It doesn't mean I'm doing this wrong. It doesn't mean I'm not right. It literally just means, no, this is a beautiful moment. This is a beautiful memory. That for me takes a lot of strength to be able to do that because of my past demons and my past thought process. That's for me. Another person might be, their version of strength might be getting up out of bed and putting their feet on the floor and looking out the window. That takes a lot of strength for them because they've been dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, and like they never want to do that. And I've been there too. So strength for me would be that. Strength can be vulnerable, being vulnerable and honest and admitting you need help. That takes a lot of strength. Doesn't make you weak. So it's interesting to see like thousands of different definitions for these values or words, whatever characteristics, whatever you want to choose to describe that.
Yeah. I love that. And that's something I do with clients, right? Because when we're talking about words, characteristics, whatever, we are coming in with our own experiences that define what those words mean for us, right? It's really funny because you said saw and you went to hear. I went to hear. Like I went to the idea of, oh, I saw something, so I'm actually cutting out the extra stuff. I'm sawing it off. So, right, fascinating. But it's not until we create space to speak into it and define it for ourselves that gives us deeper understanding and meaning. Right? Because like you painted a ton of examples around strength, right? It can all mean something so different. And here's the thing for people listening, watching this, those things evolve and change too. In different seasons, they mean different things. Strength today may mean something different tomorrow. I don't have the book. I'm reading the Brene Brown book about.
I was going to ask you about it.
Wait, give me 3 seconds.
All right. Well, anyway, I was going to ask Griff about this book.
I'm back.
Specifically because I want to read it. One person I was talking to, I was like, I'm waiting for the paperback, but then they showed me really cool pictures that are in it and really beautiful. It's a beautifully laid out book. So I was like, I don't want to audio it. I don't want to wait for I just might have to get the hardcover version of it. So I was actually going to ask you about this.
Yeah, dude, I love it. It's so good. It's so good. And one thing I love about what she's doing is she's not coming in being like, I'm this expert. She's like, I've done this research. Here's what I'm gaining. Here's what I'm learning. She even admits in it. She's like, I've been using concepts and ideas not the correct way for so long. And she's like owning it and being like, cool, I'm a learner. But I think that's so important for us to always be curious, right? The idea of curiosity. But the reason I wanted to grab the book is because here's a really powerful quote. And it's because there's a lot of work I do with people on emotions, right? Like describing how you're feeling. You're like, well, I'm good. I'm bad. Man, I'm sad. I'm happy. And here's what they came across. And this is from a philosopher, Ludwig Wittgenstein.
We'll fact check that pronunciation.
Yeah. Everyone go back to the stuff. He says the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. And I share that because to what you're describing, to when we want to dive into stuff, to when we want to make change, it's so important that we create language and clarity around these things because we're actually giving ourselves power. Because when we don't understand, when we don't have language, when we can't describe, whatever it is holds the power because we don't have clarity. We don't know. But when we use our experiences, when we sit with self to really think about what do these things mean to me and gain clarity around that and spend time and space in it, knowing that it can evolve, but have the language to it, then the power is with you. Right? So to what we're talking about, if you want to make some small adjustments, if you want to get better, and you've gotten clearer on what better means, why better is important, what better looks like, shit, you're going to have so much empowerment and ownership because you've taken the time to define the language for yourself.
Yeah. Oh man, that's big.
That was a big.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say anything else. I just want to end it right here. We might, because that was really like that was a big thing. Look, Griff, I probably should have said this in the beginning. I'm Chris McMahon. If you're on my YouTube page, you know who I am. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably know who I am. Griffin, who are you?
Hey everyone, I might be on here from time to time. My name is Griffin Gervais. I'm a close friend of Chris's and also a mindset and emotions coach for leaders, people who lead other people who never take time for themselves.
Where can folks find you?
The best way to interact with me is through Instagram at Griffin Gervais.
Cool. Just glad we got that out of the way before we had a really in-depth conversation. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be doing this more often, but it was really cool to chat about this. And this is what it's going to be. These are just going to be thoughts that are floating through my head, floating through Griffin's head. And we'll see what we come up with. We'll see what sticks. So all you got to do is like, subscribe, comment, ask your questions, and we'll try our best to answer them. That's really all we can do. Peace.